Okay, continuation here. Um, you might be wondering right now, wait a minute, you see two pairs of straps. Well, funny, well, maybe not so funny thing happened. I was so enthusiastic about getting these straps that I forgot to check something. And when I did start the video, and then I got this the pins off and the strap, and was going to mount this on, and then I put it up to the lugs, and I was like, wait a minute, why is it so loose? And it's like, I didn't notice it before, but what I originally got by accident was 20 with 18s, and these are 22 millimeters. I said, oh crap, did I so decided to order one? Did I put the order in for the wrong size? And I checked my order, and they definitely worked for 22s. So I took a couple of pictures and emailed Strap Tailor about this that same night that I was originally doing this video, which was last Thursday. And they got back to me. I said, hey, I think you sent me the wrong one. How would you want to, please respond, how you want to handle this, basically. And they got back to me Friday morning. Just apologized. I guess they're training some new people. And guess they must have had an error, obviously, in the shipping and fulfillment department, whatever. So they basically made sure they got the right size this time, which is 22s, which is this one, and it says that here, and I kind of confirmed it. You can see through the bag, it says 22 and 20, tapers on 20 instead. Actually, no, still tapers on at 18, sorry, which is actually better. I prefer having more taper than just 2 millimeters, so just a little bit more slender. And yeah, they said they'll get it right out to me, and they said I can keep the one that they sent incorrectly as an apology or whatever. Just just keep it. I think it'll cost them more to print me a shipping label and send it back than it would be for them to just bite the cost. But either way, that was cool of them that they acknowledged the fact that there was a issue on their end, and they responded quickly and positively and very reactively by sending out the right ones this time, and letting me keep the old one, the wrong one. But 20 millimeters, very usable size. I'm sure I could use it on something, although currently I have to admit, I think about what watches I have still that have 20 millimeters that would actually look good with this style of strap. I have to say I don't have as many as I thought, or at least I used to, and I'm not sure yet, because mainly these would go on divers, but they don't have to. But there's certain other watches that I'm not sure if it would work. I have the Urban Gentry, that new one from Laurier, the Merlin, which, I mean, color-wise it could work, but I'm not sure if a Tropic Stat really matches the look of that old vintage pilot watch. I don't know. Put it on, maybe it might work. I have my Tag Heuer Aqua Racer in titanium. I don't know, when I think Tropic Strap, I think of something that should be more vintage in style, I suppose. So not sure that would work with the grayness of the titanium and that gray dial. I mean, yeah, I guess it could, but I don't know. Something about this sort of seemed off. And what else? I have a Seiko chronograph, which might work, but then that's fitting inside those hooded lugs is pretty tight, so this may be a little too tight for that. We'll see. But anyways, I'll figure out what to do with this at some point. Now let's get to this here. Just back up a little bit. So let me just start to show you like this quick release, but we're gonna get rid of those because I have to use the screw pins. I'm not gonna use these. This just won't be secure inside. Whatever holes got going on there is gonna be definitely larger, and something like this would just mess it up. So it's real easy. Just push this down all the way, and then just fold this back until this tip pops out, and then just push it through or pull it through. I'm trying not to would prefer not to grab it by the lever here and yank it out, just because I feel that, you know, if I want to use this again, this causes unnecessary stress on that part. And I got it out pretty easy last time. There we go. I just got to push on the right spot on the on that. Maybe I should use this tool here to help. There we go. Okay. Just have to make sure I pick that up before I forget that I dropped it on the floor. And then you just do the same with this. Real easy. Not too much of a struggle to pull that back and get that pin out, and then you just use this to carefully push. I don't want to push on the pin, I just want to push on the edge, see, like that, and help guide it out. And then just aim it down this way, hit the table, so I don't have to chase it. And I have a baggie for this somewhere right here. I wrote this last time. Strap Tailor green AquaFlex rubber strap, original quick release spring bars. Just in case I ever want to replace it back in here for maybe I might use it for another watch. If I don't actually have anything else that has 22 millimeters, but I did, and it would use quick spring bars like this instead of the one that's in the Blancpain here with the screw style. Then I could do that and keep this in the safe place, probably with whatever straps that I have together with this particular watch. So you just take these two tools. Again, these are from Strap Habit, and they got the I can see it, just like the hex shape tips, both of them the same. You basically put one on. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Just carefully fit it in the thing, and it should just, when you find the right shape, it matches up, it'll drop right in. And then same from this side. Okay, and then go counterclockwise. And I should start to see it come out. There we go. Put this down here. And this was kind of tricky to pull it out last time. Sorry, it was off camera a bit. But since I did it once, I think it loosened it up a bit. So pretty easy to take that out. Put this to the side. And just so you can see, if you haven't seen it, this is the side that has the hex, and then it almost looks the same as this end. So I make sure you don't get confused, but this side is the wall around that hole. It's a little bit thicker, and if you try testing the tool, it won't really have anything to grab onto when you stick this in the wrong one. This one will actually fit in. Sorry about the focus, and lock right in. So see. Anyways, I believe, because the strap is going to run down on my wrist this way, I'm going to close it facing me, and then the loose end is going to feed through here to this side. So I'm going to use this side for this end, right? Because then this comes up around. Yeah, that makes sense. You see the buckle end is on the top half. So, make sure it fits. This is 22. And the tricky part of this is, we'll make sure this actually has no issues going through this. You know, I didn't check to see, make sure that hole isn't somehow particularly tight. Otherwise, I might have a challenge feeding this this pin through. So just go in like that. And you're kind of going blind. There we go. And then the other trick is on the far side is to get that to line up right so that it goes, you see it just went past right through the middle there, and then just try to get it to make sure that it goes through the hole here. It's not, you know, because there is some bit of play where I can wiggle around and may not line up with that hole. So I might need to possibly pull this off camera and just so I can see it better, because it's pretty dark for me to look into that hole and see if it's lining up. So give me a second. Okay, I found it. Wasn't too bad. And then what we're going to do is put this other pin in there, or the screw rather, and I'm going to counter rotate it to make sure that it actually sits right. I'm holding it with my pinky on the other side so it doesn't drop through, and then adjust it forward, and if it's catching, and it is, it's pulling this end in. You can see it was sticking out just a little bit. What I should do is, just to make sure, I'll grab this side so it doesn't spin infinitely. It might get to this point where it's not tightening it totally. So I go like that. And then you don't want to overdo it, just do it so it feels like it's not going to back out or loosen up there. I don't want to over torque it and strip the screws or the screw head. That would suck. And just test it, and there you go. Looking good so far. I'll just do the same on this side. Carefully insert this into one of these screw pins, and then you do that here. You try not to I'm trying not to hit the wrong spot and scratch up the case material on that around it, and then counter twist, and it's starting to come out right about here. And then I believe the screw is on the opposite side this time, because when I did it, the screw, when it's flipped over, the screw was this way. So both screw small parts are actually on, I guess, if this was right side up, it would be on its left side, or the 9 o'clock side. I don't know if it really matters, right? But I tried to install or reinstall things back in the order and the orientation that I got them out from. So I just use this to help me push this out, because there's not much on this end to grab. And then carefully pull that out. Set this aside, and then we're gonna grab this and start to feed this back in the way it came from. I didn't do any flip-flopping of this screw pin, so it should just be in the right direction. So it went through. So maybe you can see right through there, that little opening where the quick release was. Oh, and it looks like I was able to push it all the way through, so that must mean that it made it to this side. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made. I wouldn't be able to push it this deep, and it'd probably be backed, be blocked by the surrounding material around the hole, right? If I didn't get it straight in. So there's that, and then I just carefully put this screw in, like so, and then I get this in. Okay, drops, and then I counter rotate so that I just want to make sure it has a chance to just drop into the right spot, and then carefully screw it down. Then grab the other end. Sorry, off camera again. But see around this. Right about there. And then righty-tighty. So turn this way. Okay, until it gets some resistance, and that should be plenty. I don't want to, again, over torque it. There we go. Looking good. It's just because these don't use a traditional spring bars. You got to do this double thing and the alignment and fiddling with the small screws. I don't anticipate doing that many strap changes that often, as I might with some of my other watches. So that's one other reason why I wanted to get a pretty decent quality strap that I can basically be happy leaving on here for extended periods. I don't feel a need to change it, and I do think like this Sailcloth-style is the best with the Blancpain 50 Fathoms style of watch. Just a classic look with it. And we're gonna do the dual deployment right here, get it sized to my 7-inch wrist. So what you do is just simply feed it through here. Let's see, the tricky part is you want to get it in between these parts on the edge so that stays down, but then as you're feeding this through, this thing is immediately bumping the rubber material up, so it's kind of hard to do that without it kind of catching. I might have to like do like a little flexy bend so that I can kind of get over that feed through, otherwise it's constantly rubbing on the backside. Now I'm not even sure what hole size I'm going for. We'll just push it along, and I just want to get just a little bit more so it clears this back part. That's the main, I feel like I was kind of blocking it as I was pushing it in. Now we'll just stop and try a hole somewhere. Let's try that. Well, I'm going to loosely try it on and then see if I can gauge how much further I got. Okay. So just keep kind of just bend it slightly so it arches a bit so that it can clear that pin that's on the other side, right? Otherwise it tries to stay flat. It's going to be more friction, just harder to push through. And I think that's a little bit much, so I'm going to try it on, I think it's near this hole right here. Trying to see where it's at. I'll try it in the 4th hole. It's a little looser. I think that's where it's at. You can kind of, can you see it in there? Probably from your angle it's hard to see, it's pretty dark, but from where I'm at I can kind of see it. So I'm trying to push that through, and it'll just be like that. You see that? Yeah. And then I like this. This feels more elegant, but definitely still a little bit on the loose side. I have to admit, these trigger do deploy pretty easily without, if you're not careful, see, you can pull it out. By itself it's fine, but these triggers, like, it's very light and it will undo. So I gotta test that out and see how that goes. So this is a little bit too loose. I think I can even go down to 2 more. So here to this one, just judging by how it feels. So I gotta just kind of pop it up so it gets out of that hole. So I can start to slide this down a little bit more. 1, 2. Gotta be careful because now it's trying to get, I don't want to get it running into this area right here where it's starting to get thicker. You can see just right here it's starting to get thicker. Try to push that down. And I think maybe the other thing too is I gotta make sure that this pin is seated as deeply into the hole as possible, so that keeps this material as flat against this buckle or clasp as much as possible, so that when I fold this over to lock it, there's nothing that's kind of keeping it from really locking down good. So we shall see here. Yeah, I can go one more smaller. That actually ended up being a little bit tighter than I wanted, I think. Yeah, it is a bit snug, I think. Well, actually, I feel like it could be a little bit looser. It just fits because it's hard to determine where my wrist is right now in terms of if it's swollen or not. There's holes, but it's a very easy release. Now the question now is, so this is the other thing too, at the length of it, is that I got to get used to having this. You can see, try to zoom in a bit, like this tail. If I'm not careful, it's easy to fold it, see, the wrong way, because wants to go back here. You gotta make sure that, the thing is, when I get this on, I gotta kind of keep a finger or something, push this in so that keeps clear, so I can lock this down. Hopefully, yeah, see, you gotta be careful, because actually potentially one button might undo. Oh, it seems to be doing okay now. Yes, I did. Yeah, one button. So that is something, might have to see how that works in practice, because not much point of a dual deployment button if both of these unlatch too easily, like that. See, just one pull on this side. Now, the chances that something might happen on this end, I don't know how I gotta see when in practice will it actually be that big a deal. This side doesn't seem to be as bad. This one seems a bit easier to release. I'm thinking, where is it locking down on this thing? Is it on the inside of this part? Yeah, this is something you gotta just double check and make sure that it's actually held in place right. I should probably loosen it up one. I just feel that already, like, it fits, but just so, plus maybe potentially popping it down to a lower level might. Just make sure this gets underneath there. Okay, now I was on the second to the last, now I'm on the third to the last, which is in between because I was on the fourth to the last when I started. I might try to order a, they don't, unfortunately, I wanted to see if they had a black version of this from Strap Tailor, but they don't offer that. Strapco makes something similar, not all rubber yet, but some sailcloth and something to do with a deployant clasp such as this, and they do make one in black. So I'm just curious, maybe I might pick one of those up, and potentially I might work with this as well and see how much more secure it might feel. Since it is this side doesn't, I don't get that, but this definitely something to note here. That one finger, not that hard either. This side, don't get that as much. Make sure that's really pushed down. And let me try this one more time. Again, this is on my 7-inch wrist in case you're trying to do the same thing, perhaps. And make sure that tail end doesn't somehow stick out. It can, because nothing's holding it in other than the friction or the weight of your wrist. This feels better. It's like, why do I always do that? I need to secure this custom Lego on its stand once I get that made. Keep knocking it over. But here we go. Let's see if I can get some light from this side. Sorry, the power on this light that I have on the side, it's probably going to die real soon. So let's get a close up. Well, it looks good. I just have to be careful with this thing coming loose. I don't know if that was the case on this strap though. Wondering if it's out of curiosity, maybe if I switched it, if somehow this one might be more secure, but I have to tell you, just from looking at it, I feel that you see how this button sticks out, and you see how this one doesn't. This one is definitely much more should be like that. Maybe it's because of the way I pushed it in. Well, definitely there's a little bit of irregularity in the way this one is made. However, that being said, like when I release it, it looks fine. When I push it down, notice how one side catches more. Definitely, you see? That doesn't look right either. See how this is in more? This one I don't get that as much. I look a little bit more even between the two sides, but this one, I don't think it's necessary because I don't have a strap through there. Let's take a look. That's out of curiosity. It's going to be a long video, sorry, but it's worth exploring, especially if you guys are maybe considering, do you spend the almost over $300 over, not almost, it's definitely over $300 if you get, like say, something from Artem, because they make the HydroFlex, and that one's like one of the most expensive ones with that loopless HydroFlex. And basically you got to get this style, and they have other clasps that are even more expensive. You're looking at over $300. So is it worth it? Now when I put this together, it's still, this definitely sticks out more than this one. But is it as easy to undo as? No, this one's pretty more precise. I mean, maybe I'll see about that. Maybe I should try changing it and see if that'll make a difference. Although this looks, I think this looks more even. But then the concern is how easy that is to pop off on this side. It doesn't happen so much on this one. Well, now it does. Yeah, not much good if it's like a hair trigger. It really does come off pretty. See, there's the only thing that's holding it is these things, and I guess something about it is like the groove isn't deep enough, maybe. I mean, as it is, it's fine, but I'm just concerned if I knock something somehow, which is rare because just for something to come in this way, you know, mostly I'm going to rest my hand on maybe a table or something, unless I come across and hit something. It may potentially pop off, but yeah, this might be something I'm going to investigate off camera, and I'll get back to you if I end up switching it and see which one feels more secure. Otherwise, looks-wise, and general function, it seems to be pretty good, but we'll see about this, whether in fact this other one will actually work a little bit better. I mean, that might mean that if I do that, then I might have this 20mm version, which will have a slightly less secure one, if this indeed is more secure. I do believe these are the exact same size. Yeah, because it both tapers down to 18. But we'll see. I am curious. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. I will see if I can give you an update on this class situation. But as it is, that's can be way too loose. If I do that, if I just pull on it by here, I'm putting a good amount of tug on this. It's not doing nothing. So that's good, at least for the most part. It shouldn't come undone, even when I'm pulling on the side, like not the buttons, just the clasp itself. It's not getting undone, so that's good. It's just that these are very easy to trigger, so that's the only thing. So we'll see. Okay, thanks for watching. Enjoy your watches. I'll try to enjoy this one next coming days.